Hey guys, recap from yesterday's NFL Week 13 picks. So I had 3 games yesterday, ended up going 1-2. Wasn't a great week, obviously. A couple of tough losses. But just to recap on those games. So the one I got right, I took the New York Jets, plus 8.5. The Jets, the poor Jets, I swear, I feel like they just want to lose on purpose to get the top pick. But if you guys watched that game, I didn't really watch much of that game because the Jets were, it was a close game the whole time, so I really wasn't worried about not covering the 8.5. But the Jets should have won outright, and then Greg Williams decides to bring the house on a cover 0. He brought 8 guys when really he should have just dropped 8 back. And it was just essentially 3 receivers and 3 corners, 1-on-1, and the Raiders ended up winning. So good for the Raiders. The Jets go to 0-12. That might have been their best shot to win a game. I don't know their schedule the rest of the way, but man. So yeah, that was a nice cover. The other 2 I got wrong. So the first one was I took Atlanta. I was on New Orleans early in the week, but I don't regret it. I mean, it is what it is. I was probably on the wrong side of that one. The Falcons, you know what you're going to get with Atlanta, right? And they move the ball, they get a lot of yards. They don't score in the red zone, touchdowns, right? They settle for a lot of field goals. They settled for 3 more field goals yesterday, and that was the difference. If they are able to get a touchdown on one of those, it's a different story. But their defense, I thought, one of the reasons why I like them, I already mentioned in the last video, so I won't go too much into detail with that, but I think their defense, has been playing better in the last few weeks, ever since, Dan Quinn was fired. And the defense played, I thought, pretty well yesterday. They, gave up some big third downs. They couldn't really get off the field, especially in the first half. One drive, they gave up like first downs on 3rd and 10 and longer 3 times. And I was like, geez, that's never a good sign. They got helped out a little bit. The Saints missed a field goal. They went for it on 4th down, didn't convert. So, they had more than enough opportunities to come back in that game. But the story was the Saints defense bending but not breaking, and the Falcons just continue to struggle with their red zone offense. And that was that. I mean, they still had a chance at the end, threw a Hail Mary. Tough game. It was a closer game than the first matchup, but, got that one wrong. And then the other one I had... Yeah, I wanted just to go back to that Indianapolis one. That was one that I really liked as well. And and the Colts in a way got lucky. They were the Texans were at the 2-yard line for Indy, and then Watson fumbled a shotgun snap. It was a bad snap. I think it was kind of low. But it looked like Houston was going to score there and win the game. So unlucky for Houston. But that one would have been a really cool sweat. It was a good game, but I stayed off that game. I picked Chicago. That was my last one. And that one, I mean, the Falcons, they I guess could have won the game, but they just couldn't do enough offensively. So there's no excuses there. But the Bears, I mean, at the very least, should have had a push in that game. I had them at -3. They were up 10 points for the majority of that game. And not only did they not cover, but they lost. I mean, they were up 30-20 late in the game, and then the Lions got 2 touchdowns late. Mitch Trubisky fumbled the ball like an idiot, and the Lions recovered and got the go-ahead touchdown and won 34-30. I said, Nagy's a terrible coach. What is with these coaches in running on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 with like no time left? We saw it with Anthony Lynn last week with the Chargers. And what does Nagy do with the Bears? First of all, Allen Robertson stepped out of bounds a yard short of the first down marker. He knew he screwed up there, so it's 4th and 1. I think there's like 15 seconds left in the game. The Bears have a timeout, and they do a shotgun draw play. I'm like, what are you doing? And then Trubisky is signaling to call his final timeout like he got the first down. I'm like, you weren't even close, bud. But even if they got the first down, you take your final timeout, it would have been like 11 seconds left. Now you have no timeouts, 11 seconds, and you need the touchdown, and you're still like 25 yards out. Like, what do you want? Like 2 throws in the end zone? Like, I didn't. The play calling is just so strange with these terrible coaches. But regardless, the Bears, I mean, at the very least, should have won 30-27, even with the Lions' late touchdown. Backdoor push. But geez, that's a tough loss. So 1-2. could have, should have, would have, whatever. It was, this week was one I'm just going to throw out. There were so many games I liked early in the week and then didn't end up betting them. And I mentioned, I think, in the video on Friday, I liked Indy, I liked Cleveland, I liked Washington. And Indy ended up, just coming through. Cleveland, no sweat, won. Washington, will find out. Like I said, I could have got them at 9.5, and that line now at 6.5. So that would have been sweet, because getting Indy and Cleveland right, Washington, regardless of what will happen in tonight's game, I wouldn't even really I'm not worried about it, because I would have got my money in so good at that point, just placing good bets, and that's all you can do. That I would have had Washington at plus 9.5. They're at 6.5 now, so I think the 9.5 is at minus 175, and I would have got it at essentially minus 110. So it was a great value pick, but again, that game was taken off the board, and then I could have got it at 8 plus 8 the last second, but then I got off of them. So this week was just one of those where I should have probably stuck with who I liked early in the week, because it would have been a very good week. Another one I really liked, I didn't talk about, was New England. You heard my rant last week with Anthony Lynn, and the Chargers and Patriots, what a matchup in terms of, on paper, the Chargers have a much better team, more skilled, but the coaching matchup, you got Belichick, who's arguably the best coach, and then you have Anthony Lynn, who's one of the worst coaches, and we saw what happened, 45-0. The Patriots went in there and just laid the hammer on the Chargers, and so yeah, just a lot of games that I liked that I didn't bet, and then got involved in games that I liked. I don't regret making the picks, obviously, but better options, I think, out there. But I knew going in, it was an ugly ticket. I'm happy I got the Jets right. The Bears should have, at very least, push, and then the Falcons are the Falcons, whatever. You're gambling with them. So throw this week out, and we're going to move on to week 14. I like, week 14 to 17, I typically finish pretty strong. So I don't know, who knows? Maybe I'll make larger volume bets in these last few weeks. So hopefully finish the season really strong. But I feel pretty confident going into the last month of the season. So stay tuned later in the week. I'll try to get my picks out a lot sooner than Sunday, because I think this time, whoever I like early in the week, I'm just sticking with them. This week I got caught up in the numbers a little bit. I was trying to find the most value, and I felt like for the most part I got it, but I think I should just stick with the ones that I feel very strong about early in the week, and not kind of get off of those games, because although you are betting, at the end of the day you're betting numbers, you still have to think of the team in that situation in the back of your mind. And although I did like the situation for the Falcons and the Bears, they're still the Falcons and the Bears. Although I could say that about the Jets too, and they ended up winning or covering. So that's the way it goes. We'll look forward to this next week. Shout out to one of the guys who usually comments, not a Biden fan. I think that's his name. I like that name. And it looks like he had a good week. He had, like I said, he took the Browns, which I loved. I think the Patriots. I don't know if he might have taken the Colts, the Bears. I know he had the Bears. And then I think he took the Saints as well. So he had a really good week. So congrats to not a Biden fan. And yeah, let's regroup this week. I don't know if I'm going to bet the Thursday game. I'm a Rams fan. They're paying the Patriots. I typically stay off my team. The Rams were another team I liked yesterday, and I just, like I said, I don't like betting my team. But the Patriots are scary. The Patriots will be, I think, a very public bet on team as the season goes on, because I don't know their schedule the rest of the way, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs at 6-6 right now unless they maybe win out and get some help. But they're a team that looks really good, so I might not get involved in the Thursday night game. I think they're a 6-point dog to the Rams. But little Super Bowl rematch from a couple years ago, so we'll see what happens. All right, guys, like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and let's look forward to another week of football.